came out trying to lasso their opponents while saying, "Don't mess with Texas."
Media guy, way too much information. CU Sports to cut it down. Sportsmag's Adam Crapo investigates.
The ladies' club lacrosse team and their crazy goggles are trying to go big time.
Volleyball takes on tough Big 12 play.
This plus more coming straight at you
on CU Sportsmag.
For joining us for this edition of CU Sports Mag.
I'm Karni Ivanchev alongside Phil Milani.
Now, we don't have any Buff highlights for you, but we got some wacky Big 12 lights. UT drops 51, Nebraska wins after scoring 7, and Kansas goes 3-0, and Texas Tech, are you kidding me, puts up 80 points? Let's go to the highlights. Texas Tech taking on Sam Houston State Bearcats. First quarterback Cody Hodge throws it to corner so that wide receiver Jared Hicks can get up. First of 2 TDs on the day for him. Second quarter, TT up 28 to nada. Hodges releases his cannon. Woo! Finds a wide open Robert Johnson for a 67-yard first down. 2 plays later here, Hodge is looking, and he finally connects with Joel Fulani for yet another TD. Too easy. The Bearcats down big. Oh, the fake handoff, but no one's buying. The Red Raiders destroy Sam Houston State 80-21. Number 2, Texas, coming out of the smoky tunnel to take on Rice. Early in the first quarter, the handoff goes to Jamal Charles, who goes, boom, get out the way. He finds his way to the end zone, getting the Longhorns on the board first. Later in the first quarter, Vince Young in his own end zone decides to take off, and what a good decision that was. Out in the open, and Lance Bird thinks he's got him, but nope, I don't think so. That would lead to another Charles run. He's evading the tacklers right here, and then he goes, I don't think so, not today. He dives in for his second touchdown. In the second, Charles again moseys his way on into the land of TDs. Exactly 1 minute later, the Owls try some trickery, but the pitch fails like a kid who doesn't do his homework. And Michael Huff says, thank you very much, and finds the end zone. Later on, Chase Clement gets chased down. He forgets to bring the ball with him, though, and Frank Oakham jumps on the ball. Longhorns off 35-zip. Still in the first half, Young dumps it off to Matt Melton. That sets up this Henry Melton 1-yard touchdown run. The two Meltons, unrelated, working together. Texas wins 51-10. Nebraska getting pumped up to take on the Pitt Panthers. In the second quarter, quarterback Zach Taylor finds none other than Terrence Nunn. The play is good for 36 yards and sets up first and goal. 4 plays later, Taylor hands the ball off. Wait, no he doesn't. He decides to take it in himself for Nebraska's only TD of the day. Pitt is trying to come back, but nothing is working. Tyler Palko gets sacked. Looks like the line didn't even show up to play today. Palko gets sacked again. Palko just trying to get something started, but nothing's even working. Here the West comes from the weak side. He goes down again. Wanstad clearly frustrated here. The Cornhuskers win a close one, 7-6. Kansas playing host to the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech. Late in the first quarter, Brian Luke in the shotgun dumps it off to Charles Gordon in the flat. He breaks a tackle and scores. Kansas up early. Now, in the second, Matt Kubik avoids a sack and finds Anthony Harrison in the end zone. The game is now tied up. Bulldogs changed QBs, but Donald Allen had nowhere to go. He's taken down for the loss. Kubik back in now. Different quarterback, same result. He too will be sacked. Kansas turning it on in the second half. Brian Luke connects with Mark Simmons for a 22-yard play, setting up this 4-yard touchdown pass from Luke to big Derek Fine. Fourth quarter now, John Cornish takes the pitch and strolls into the end zone. Jayhawks win 34-14.
A sea of red that normally is reserved for black and gold permeated through the Coors Event Center last weekend.
The CU women's volleyball team hosted #1 Nebraska Cornhuskers, and needless to say, they traveled well. Nebraska started off the match with 5 straight points before the Buffs could answer back. The Huskers easily won the first game. In the second set, CU came out strong with an early 3-1 advantage, but Nebraska overpowered the Buffs and won the second game. In the third frame, Nebraska again came out strong, gaining a 4-1 lead. CU rallied to put the game to within 1 point at 7-6. The Huskers again dominated the game, taking it 29-19 for match point. The Buffs tallied 4 straight points before losing the match. Senior Allie Griffin was strong for CU the entire match, recording a team best 16 kills. And Amber Sutherland, sophomore, had 11 kills in CU's losing effort. And as you can see, CU lost 3 matches to Nebraska. Griffin made 16 kills, 1 block, and 16.5 points. So, too bad.
It was another long night for the women's volleyball team as they took on the Roaring Tigers of Mizzou last Wednesday in the Coors Event Center. Colorado senior Allie Griffin started the game with 2 big kills, holding Missouri to a 14-11 lead. Griffin's 7 kills in the game were not enough as the Tigers pulled away, winning 30-25. Senior Nicole Carr helped fire up CU in Game 2 with an early kill, giving the Buffs a 6-2 lead. The Tigers were able to regroup once again, defeating CU 30-24. The Lady Buffs were unable to catch a break in the third game, succumbing to the Tigers 30-11. Colorado takes on Oklahoma Saturday in hopes of breaking their 3-game losing streak at 6 o'clock in Oklahoma. Let's check out the stats from that game. You can see Mizzou won all 3 games. Griffin with 16 kills and 17 points. Schaefer had 9 kills with 1 dig. And now to the Big 12 standings. Mizzou, Nebraska, Kansas State, all undefeated at the top. Texas A&M, Colorado, Oklahoma bringing up the rear, all winless.
Coming back after the break, we'll have women's soccer and some vital information about women's lacrosse team. That's after the break.
Don't let your old phone books go to waste. Recycle.
I've been told what a wonderful birthday, you're 1 more year old. On the cake there'll be candles all lighted for you, and the whole world is singing happy birthday to you.
If you don't stop someone from driving drunk, who will? Do whatever it takes.
You know trouble can start when the clock hits 3. When there's no place after school for kids to be. Nothing to do but hanging on city streets. When mom and dad are working to make ends meet. Now it's time to beat the street.
With after-school programs, city kids aren't left alone and vulnerable. They keep on learning between 3 and 6, but these programs need your support. Join with the Urban League to keep them going. Call now, because it's
time to beat the street.
The CU women's soccer team, fresh off their California road trip, hosted the Colorado Invitational this past weekend. The Buffs were looking to rebound from 2 past losses to SoCal teams in the tournament. Now to the pitch. CU makes a strong cross to Fran Munley, who puts it away, 2-0 CU Detroit Titans. In the second half of the game, CU Fran Munley runs into the ref and leaves the pitch with a bloody nose. But she's a team player, and she is able to come back and score her second goal, the team's 3rd goal of the game. CU 3-0 Detroit Titans. In the second game, CU facing Pittsburgh Panthers, Nikki Keller fights her way through the defenseless defense of the Panthers and scores her first career goal. But alas, soccer is not always a fair sport, and CU loses the tournament to DU because DU had more overall goals. CU is facing Nebraska next Friday.
It takes a lot of work for a club sports team to make the jump to Division I. CU Sports Mag's Danielle Bernstein caught up with the ladies club lacrosse team to see what they're working on to get that varsity title.
The Colorado women's lacrosse program has been around for 10 years, but it wasn't until last spring that the team began earning national recognition for its efforts, defeating second-ranked Navy and earning a first-ever bid to the national tournament.
We got a new coach, and she emphasizes being in shape, no mistakes, bringing us to another level.
A lot more intensity, and people want to be intense out here, want to win, and we work 100 times harder than when we used to.
With the recent success of the program and a bright future ahead, coaches Sam Bartran and Gary Sikora are looking to take the team to new levels.
I really would like to see this program become nationally recognized as a club program and then be able to turn to a varsity sport.
Collegiate Club Sports Director Chris Shook knows just what it will take for a club sport to make the jump to a varsity level.
I think just success in general would, at least open at the CU athletic department's eyes as far as, right now the club team is doing really well. They're getting a lot of exposure across the country.
Although the women's lacrosse program is gaining respect across the state of Colorado, it's going to take more than just a national championship to take this club sport to the next level.
A lot of it comes down to recruiting the correct players, being able to bring in the players that are going to make a difference for your program, showing that you can bring those players in, you have something to offer them, or also about fundraising. Do we have the capability of being able to raise the funds to support a varsity program?
If one thing's for certain, it's that there's no lack of enthusiasm for a varsity level program.
Yeah, I definitely want it to go Division I. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I would love it to be Division I.
From Observatory Field on the CU campus, I'm Danielle Bernstein, CU Sports Mag.
The men's tennis team is off to a smashing start. They started the season last weekend in Alabama, the Crimson Tide Fall Championships to be exact. Despite the classy title, it was just an exhibition tournament. Junior Eric Molnar, who actually transferred from Alabama, won the tournament. He won 5 straight matches to take the title. In doubles, Marek Dvorak and Jan Zelezny made it to the finals, but in the finals, there were no finals. They were canceled because of a traveling conflict. The Buffs' real season starts this weekend nearby at the Denver Invitational.
The governing body of college athletics, or the NCAA, decided to change the length of the media guide this summer. CU Sports Mag's Adam Crapo has the story.
Athletic media guides are quite possibly the most used resource by sports reporters and contains everything you would want to know about a team. But recently, new NCAA legislation restricts the content of some college media guides by limiting the length to 208 pages. The proposal comes from an unexpected source.
The North Carolina track coach got upset at the size of the Texas track guide and whined about it. So I don't know if he lost a recruit to Texas because of it or whatever his thinking was, but it was all basically a track coach whining. That's where it all started.
The books not only give vital statistical information, but also pays tribute to student athletes. But some institutions went a little overboard on what they considered history. This is Missouri's 614-page media guide. Here's Colorado's 168. In the early months of 2005, Dave Platty was working tirelessly to make the necessary cuts, but was living on a prayer for a last-minute decision.
Well, we knew it was coming, so a lot of people went into it knowing that. I was hoping for an 11th-hour reprieve, and it never happened.
The Buffalo's 2005 media guide contains a paragraph explaining the cuts. While most schools were wasteful, Colorado was one of many that labored to pay great tribute to its history and former student athletes.
You know, we hope that maybe within 3 or 4 years that this legislation will be thrown out and schools can go back to doing what they want to do to present their histories in their manner, not being dictated how to do so.
Adam Crapo, CU Sports Mag.
The Buffs are bringing the heat to Miami this weekend to take on the Hurricanes, which leads us to this week's trivia question. What is Colorado's record at the Orange Bowl Stadium in Miami? We'll have the answer for you later on in the show.
Coming up next on CU Sports Mag, we got Double Team, and they're going to be discussing volleyball. You're not going to want to miss that.
It's right after the break.
I'm Rachel Wacholder, and you're watching CU Sports Mag. Go Buffs!
Back, we're going to be sending it over to Stephanie and Kelly
as they discuss the latest volleyball results on this week's Double Team.
Welcome back. We're going to be sending it over to Stephanie and Kelly
as they discuss the latest volleyball results on this week's Double Team.
Welcome to Double Team. I'm Stephanie Collins alongside our own and volleyball insider, Kelly Samavaria. Sorry about that. CU lost to undefeated Nebraska 3-0 the other day on Wednesday. Nebraska came out and got 5 points right away. How critical is that to the beginning of a volleyball game?
Well, momentum is key. I mean, when you're playing rally point scoring, every time you hit the ball out of bounds or every time you serve the ball into the net, it's going to give another point directly to the other team. So, as you can see right there, Nebraska came out to a really tough start, and it can be really hard for a team like Colorado to come back from really a good run like that in the beginning of the match. So it's really hard for them to dig themselves out of the hole, so it's really important.
Gotcha. CU's hitting percentage was much lower than Nebraska's. CU hit .153 compared to Nebraska's .392. How much of a part is offense to the game?
Offense is really important because if you can't hit the ball in play and if you can't, let the other team play defense, you're just giving them free points. And, you have to let the other team make some defensive mistakes. But if you don't even, get the ball into play, then they can't do that.
What can CU take from this game to improve for the future?
Well, you have to take the positives. Coach PEIU remarked that the team passed well, and Nebraska is a better team than Colorado. I mean, they're ranked top in the league, but you have to take the positives. And every time you play a team that is better than you, you're going to improve in some way. So you have to take what you did well in the game and bring it to the next match.
Yeah, granted, Nebraska is the #1 ranked team in the Big 12. We'll be back in just a moment. We're going to talk volleyball versus Missouri. Yep. We'll be back in just a sec.
You don't need algebra, geometry, and calculus to get this job. Now, if that doesn't convince you to take math courses, I don't know what will. Call NACME. We'll tell you what you need to do.
It's only a little motor oil.
What difference is one drop of paint going to make?
This much fertilizer isn't going to pollute anything.
You're looking at a sea of excuses, created drop by people like you and me. Our waters can be saved if each of us does their part. Drop by drop. If we all do a little, we can do a lot. Brought to you by the Natural Resources Defense Council, the EPA, and the Ad Councils of the U.S. and Japan.
Welcome back to Double Team. We've been talking volleyball. CU suffered a loss against Nebraska. Now we're going to talk about their loss against Missouri, who's also a ranked team. They lost 3-0 on Wednesday night. It had to be frustrating for Colorado. Missouri had 18 blocks against our good hitters, such as Amber Sutherland. And what do you do as a hitter yourself to get around a team that is blocking so well?
Well, there's nothing more frustrating than getting the perfect set, thinking you're going to spike it as hard as you can, hitting it and just hitting it right into the block and having it come back at you. So, you have to look at where the block is positioning itself, whether they're going to block line or cross court, and try and put the ball where they're not blocking. And obviously, if Missouri had 18 blocks,
then there was no seam for Colorado to hit through. So when that happens, you have to, take away some of your power and, just go for finesse and try and find spots in the court where the defense isn't, and really just play smart.
This was Colorado's third straight loss to a ranked team. What do they need to do to improve their game in order to be more competitive?
Well, you have to do all the little things well. When you're playing a team that's a lot better than you are, you have to start with the little things and then build up. And you can't necessarily play the same game as they're playing. Missouri's a tall, strong hitting team, so you can't really play up to their level. Colorado has to do smart things, like put the ball where the defense is not, and just play their game, and instead of worrying about what the team on the other court is doing.
All right, they lost their first game by 5 points, their second game by 6 points, and suffered their last game by losing by 19 points. What caused them to drop off that so much in their play?
Well, like I said, the game is so much about momentum that when you think that you're doing the best you can in a game and that you're going to get the next kill, or that the point's going to go in your favor, and it doesn't happen, it gets very frustrating. And we all know that the last couple games for the Buffs, they've lost all of them, and it's just been kind of frustrating. So I think as a team, the morale kind of went down, and once you're down, it's really hard to pick yourself back up and start playing well. So I think it was a combination, of frustration and a little bit of fatigue too, maybe.
All right, the Buffs' next game is September 24th against Oklahoma. How do you think they will do against the Sooners? Any predictions on the outcome?
Well, I think it's going to be a really good game for the Buffs, to play a team like the Sooners, because they also don't have a win in the conference yet. And their overall record is only 5-6. So I think it's going to be a really good game for the Buffs to, sort of bounce back from a couple of frustrating losses and get back on track. So I think it'll be a good test for the Buffs to see how they can come back from, some not so good games.
All right. Thanks for giving us some insight into volleyball. We all hope you can catch the game this week. They play the Oklahoma Sooners, and as she said, that they are suffering as much as CU is, so it should be a good game. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you back at the desk.
Thanks, Steph. Right after the break, we'll have the trivia answer for you.
Do you think you have the power to change the world?
I can change the world one child at a time.
I know I can make a difference in those children's lives.
I teach.
I teach.
Yes, they're teachers, but to the kids they reach, they're heroes.
I teach.
Do you have the power to wake up young minds, to be someone's hero? Teach, to make an impact on our future. Call 1-800-45-TEACH. Be a teacher. Be a hero.
This is the picture we think our neighborhood looks like. A land where there's not
An after-school program that develops children's artistic skills is about to lose its funding. The alternative, a spray can. Whose side are you on? We know dozens of ways you can keep valuable programs like this functioning in your community. We're fighting for the children. Whose side are you on?
Oh, let's sit down for a second, okay, sweetie? Hey, Kayla, there's Mary from your class.
Hi, Mary! Hi, Kayla! Come and play!
Oh, sweetie! Why don't you go play with those kids over there?
Why?
Imagine the power of one voice. Find yours at freedomcenter.org.
It's now time for the long-awaited answer to this week's trivia question. What is the Buffs' record? What is the Buffs' record at the Orange Bowl Stadium in Miami? The answer? Colorado is 4-3 in the Orange Bowl Stadium. 2 of those wins were against the Hurricanes. We'll find out Saturday if the Buffs can get one more.
Despite the CU volleyball's off performance last Wednesday against Mizzou, here at CU Sports Mag, we're still naming Allie Griffin the Athlete of the Week. Griffin recorded 16 kills in the game against Mizzou, but she was disappointed with the effort in the third game.
It's just frustrating. I think it's like one play after another. It's just I can't even really describe it right now. I don't think we played timid, but I just think we just kind of gave up. I think that the Big 12 no team's gonna lay over. And if y'all have heard, like Iowa State beat Texas, and I mean even the so-called easy teams aren't gonna be easy at all. I just think that we have to put this game behind us. I mean, I don't think we can concentrate too much on it just because of how frustrating it was. If we look too much into it, we're just going to keep getting more and more frustrated. I think we just have to come out like we played the first and second game and just put teams away like we know we can. Hi, I'm Allie Griffin, and I'm CU Sports Mag Athlete of the Week.
Allie Griffin will lead the Buffs when they take on Oklahoma this Saturday in Norman.
SportsMag's intramural dodgeball team picked up their first win of the season on Monday night after pummeling Team Girth. Despite the ridiculous penalties obtained by crew members Aaron Burgess, Chris Vellersdijk, and Sean Hauser, the crew managed to win by a score of 6-3. Adam Crapo and Corey White return as the lone seniors on this young team. The winning streak was quickly put to an end by the one-hit wonders on Wednesday night when the crew forfeit. The loss drops the team to a record of 1-2. The crew has time to mend its wounds, however, since the next game isn't until October 3rd.
Taking a look at the local prep scene, the Fairview Knights are making an early statement this season, starting 3-0, and are currently ranked 8th in the latest state power rankings according to the Rocky Mountain News. Led by senior center Evan Eastburn, a Division I caliber athlete, the Knights look to continue an already dominant season as they prepare for an annual rivalry game against Boulder in 1 week. The 6'2", 290-pound Eastburn has had interest from a number of Division I schools, including Colorado. Eastburn is a 2-star athlete on Rivals.com and lists Arizona State as his number 1 preferred school, according to the website.
It's now time for this week's Weekend Roundup. What's in New Mexico? You might be wondering that question. Well, this weekend, women's tennis team will participate in the New Mexico Invitational, while men's tennis team takes a quick jog down the road for the Denver Invitational for the weekend. On Saturday, football takes on the Canes of Miami at 10 a.m., that's Mountain Time. Also on Saturday, volleyball will ride the Sooner Schooner to Norman, and a cyclone blows through town on Sunday as the women's soccer takes on Iowa State at 6 p.m.
All right, Karen, you know that CU is a 14-point underdog this weekend. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be closer than that or no?
No, I think it's going to be a far stretch for CU.
Why are you thinking that?
Because Miami has such a strong football program. So
I don't think so. I think I'd take the bet if it was a 14-point spread. Just because CU's coming in undefeated. Miami's had 2 close games. They lost the first game against Florida State. Looks like they can't even score any points. And I think that they had a bad game against Clemson. I think they'll be all right. Hopefully you guys can check that out. It's going to be on ABC this week at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I'm Karin Ivanchev alongside Phil Milani.
That's going to do it for CU Sports Mag this week. We look forward to seeing you next week.